Greeting, friends. Greetings, friends. Gotta remember all my S's there. Your cartoonist pal Stan here. I've decided that's how I'm going to. I'm gonna refer to myself. Your cartoonist pal Stan. And here again for another episode of Random Encounters, the show where I go to. It's very dramatic for not knowing what I was going to say next, even though I really should. Yes, the show where I use random encounter tables like the kinds you find in role playing games, tabletop role playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. I use those plus input from the people who are in the live chat room to generate randomly prompts of a who and a what, a thing and an action. And then I draw that thing for your entertainment and mine. Uh, Also, I invite you to draw along. Bring your own pad of pen, paper, crayon, markers, electronic pad, whatever. I'm using a pad. I'm using an iPad Pro, and I'm using the app Procreate. This is not sponsored in any way, though, as I say every week, I'm totally up for it if they are. I just I like those media, so I use them, and it's easy for me to stream here. So yes, that's how it goes. We're gonna use some random encounter tables. Not off to a good start with the pronunciation here today. We're gonna use some random encounter tables and a die rolling app, and we are going to draw something that I don't know what it is yet. Sound good to you? I hope so, because that's what we're up for. Here we go. I'm going to come over here, and I am going to pull up our random encounter tables for the evening. There you go. See the who's, you see the what's. Pretty much all of the holiday themed stuff is out, but the winter themed stuff is still there. We are supposed to get snow here in the Pacific Northwest overnight and tomorrow and into the weekend, and that is always a cause for calamity and alarm. No one's ever ready for snow. Not around here. We like our rain. So there we go. Let's pop over and see what the dice have to say. So come over to the die rolling app, and I'm gonna go once, twice, and third time is the charm. Once, twice, third time is a charm. One is our who, and once, twice, third time. Three is our what. A one and a three. A one and a three. What does that get us here? Oh, doesn't really help me if I put my pad down, because that's where the answer will be found. All right, one is an owlbear, and three is playing chess. Okay. The last time I had an owlbear on here, I wound up drawing. It was an owlbear having ice cream, and I wound up. I don't know if you see here. I wound up turning that into a sticker. It was such a cute drawing. I redid it in a more finished format, and I made one smallish sticker out of it. I'm going to make a larger version one of these days. It's a cute little drawing. Let's see what our owlbear playing chess comes out like. So we're going to come here. Sketching is where we want to be. We're going to turn off our tables right now and come back here to do some drawing. Now I'm going to use Studio Pen is the brush I like to do my drawing with, and I like to do my sketching in blue ink, so I can then ink over it in black and see the difference. So we got an owlbear playing chess. I should tell those of you who are watching on Facebook, this is live streaming to several different locations at the same time. Because of the way Facebook does things, if you were to leave a comment, I should see all the comments no matter where they come from right here on my screen. So far, nothing, but that's okay. If you come from Facebook, though, you will probably show up just as Facebook user. So it would be helpful if you somehow told me who you were, so I don't have to just call you Facebook user. or not. Let's say you can just sit back and enjoy. No pressure here. Pressure's on me. Pressure's on me here to do something entertaining. So we got an owlbear playing chess. So owlbear. Then I have the owlbear sitting, and we're gonna have a chessboard here. I'm gonna have to resize this, I think, because we're gonna have to have someone on the other side. Just going to put some little stripy things for where pieces might be. Now, question is, and I put it out to you folks watching, if you feel like participating, who is the owlbear playing chess against? Got to be playing someone. Who's getting the wrong end of the fuzzy end of the lollipop against the owlbear? There's got to be someone over here. Bum bum bum. Here we go. So far, I'm not seeing any comments. It could be that there's something weird going on in the old internet land. If you are leaving comments and I'm not seeing them, I apologize. There's not much I can do about that. But if you're just watching quietly and you're hearing me freak out about comments, well, just let me freak. I'll be fine. All right, there we go. So that's about enough. I can work with that. Erase a bit there so you have a better idea of what's going on. But we can now switch over to our lines layer and black ink. And we're going to come in here. I always say start with a line you're confident in. And in this case, I think it's going to be the beak. Owlbear's beak. Owlbear's got a wry little smile because the owlbear knows I'm a good chess player. And we're going to have the owlbear's owly tufts up here. Yeah. It's nice to be here doing this. It's been the year has started off. It's been a good first second week of the year, but first week without a holiday in it. It's been a good week, busy one, and I've been running around doing all kinds of stuff, and it's nice. This is a fun part of my week. I look forward to this every Thursday. Um, I hope you do too. Those of you who are watching either live or on replay, leave me a note. How's your 2024 going so far? I'm really beginning to suspect that there's just something wrong with the chat, because I know that there are a few regular viewers who tend to show up early and tend to just have something friendly to say. So if that's the case, then this might be a very quiet episode on my part. Well, I guess not. I'm going to have to do a lot of talking, but I'm not going to be able to respond to you, which means that I I have to make I have to make everything up myself. There's parts where I'd like to get you guys involved when I can. It's fun. It's fun for me, and I know it's fun for you. Um, oh, hello, Linnea. I guess I'll just take that back. Maybe I was just being impatient. Um, so good. I hope things are going there. So I had Scout Roundtable presentation. How did that go? Did that go well for you? Guess I'm going to. I was trying to avoid drawing the lines in so I wouldn't have to erase them, but I realized that if I'm going to put any pieces on here, I really need to make sure that they go into spots that are on the board. So go. Looking all right. Now this, of course, is not. I didn't think so far ahead as to make this a viable chess set of moves, but you know, only so much we can get out of a quick fire drawing challenge. Hello, Dave. Hello, Linnea says it went okay. Everyone is a kerfuffle over change. I'm supposed to avoid updates. Avoid the C word. Don't say change. It makes people nervous. All right. Well, what you gonna do, right? People are gonna get. People always want things to be better, but they never want any change. Have this little elf or half elf. Not really sure. Can't really always tell the difference. Shocked. Shocked at the moves that the Owlbear is making. we go. If I turn off our sketch layer, we can now see this without those lines on it, and I can see where I need to come in and fix things up a little bit so it's clearer. There we go. I think it's looking pretty good. An owlbear playing chess. So we can very quickly pop in and put some colors on that. And see what else the dice have in store for us this evening. All right, so I'm going to go to the colors layer, and I'm going to switch brushes over to the gloaming brush, which has that marker or crayon-ish feeling to it. Pick a nice brown color for our owlbear. And I'm going to do that coloring style where I'm working with the shapes inside the creature or inside whatever figure I'm working on. You can see when I was drawing that I break things down into different shapes. This leg is a little tube, so I just do that. The toes are each little shapes on their own. And by doing that, it allows me to not to get something that feels good and complete, even though I'm not coloring it in completely, because I'm coloring to the shape. And that's a trick that you can use when doing coloring at home if you're using crayons or markers or other things. You don't want to spend the time or use all your crayon filling in the entire shape of the thing, but you want it to look good. This gives it a little feeling of depth and shape that wasn't there on its own. Orange for the beak. We want to come back and make a darker color for the eyebrows here. I'm going to come in and add a little more later on. But here, like let me go back and do that again. Like a crayon, you can, if you put a color down with this gloaming brush and then you go over it again, you get a darker version of the same thing. You can do that on when you're coloring if you want to draw some emphasis. Just go over the same spot again with your crayon. All right, now we're going to need some of these to be blacks and some of these to be whites. So there we go. And then on the board, I want a different color though on the board. The color of the pieces, not to get lost in the color of the board. There we go. And we will over to our surprise little elf. Who taught that owlbear to play chess? Certainly what he's wondering. The owlbear. Maybe the owlbear is a chess hustler. Out, out in the park at night when everyone else has gone home, the owlbears sit around at the chess boards and practice. There we go. Now, if I want to come back and add just a little depth, we were talking about it before. If I go and take whatever the color is and then make it a little darker, or as I said, if you're using a crayon at home or a marker at home, you can usually go over it, just go over it again with the same color, make it a little darker. I'm going to pick the underside of most of these things and just give it a little idea of a shadow to create the feeling that there's light and depth here. If you ever did any painting or taken any art classes, they will tell you about all of the rules for how this works and how you must do it this way or that way. And I'm here to tell you that not that they're wrong, but that when you're just coloring for fun, you can play fast and loose. Just pick what feels like the underside of these shapes we were working with before, put a little line under them, and it suddenly it feels like a much more in-depth owlbear. Same thing here. Just a little bit darker things that are in the back, make it darker. Want it to stand out when you add it. There we go. And just a little. There. Okay. And I'm going to take that color. Now, right now, this is fine. This looks terrific. Because I'm working digitally, I can look at that and say, I think the colors are really, they're the right colors. They're the colors I want, but they're coming through very strong. So I'm going to change the opacity. I'm going to make them a little easier to see through, which allows more white to get through and kind of just lightens them up. So that's 100%. That's 50%. 50% see-through. But I think really what we want here is about 85%, 90%. Around 85%. There we go. And I will come back to my lines layer one more time. Go back to my inking brush. And just put the signature on it because I'm proud of what I did. And there we have it. We got the owlbear playing chess. They play 8 rubes at the same time. Yes, yes. I'm sure that this owlbear. Look at how he's running that board. I'm sure he could play 8 different halflings at the same time, and or half elves. Just any old adventurers. Clean their clocks. An owlbear grandmaster. All right, so there we go. That is our first drawing for the evening. Looking pretty good. And take a second to tell you all that during this month, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, I'm taking part in another artist challenge. which is called caricature resolution. I'm a big fan of caricature, and I'm an okay caricaturist. Over the years, I've practiced some. I've gotten better. I'm not great, but I'm at the point where I'm okay. I'm pretty good, but I want to be better. So I'm doing this thing where every day I am doing a new caricature and posting it to my social media. And I highly encourage you, if you aren't already, to just keep an eye out for it. Go to my Instagram, instagram.com/stanx, and you can see the 11 that I've done so far, and follow what I do on the coming days. Linnea says, I imagine his little fingers wiggling in anticipation of the next move. I'm imagining that too. All right. Excuse me. One more sip of soda here. And oops. Okay. All set. Good. All right, it's on to round 2. Time to come back and roll up another encounter for us to have, and for me to draw. So we'll go back to our die roller, and once, twice, third time is a 2, and that's for the who, and the what is once, twice, third time, a 1. A 2 and a 1, which is a Necromancer ballroom dancing. Very well. All our rolls so far have been 1, 2, or 3. A Necromancer ballroom dancing. I don't know why I put ballroom dancing. I was cleaning up the tables this week and making some changes, and I didn't want them all to be winter related. So I just picked some of the other things that are on here, like playing chess and ballroom dancing. And those are what are getting selected. I honestly don't know what brought ballroom dancing to my mind, but now I'm gonna have to draw it. So we're on the correct brush, we're on the correct color, we're on the correct line. Necromancer ballroom dancing. All right, so I'm gonna zoom in here and do a little. Oh, come on, stop that. Light sketching. I need just some postures. So 2 characters cheek to cheek. This is what's going on here. All right, I don't know if you can see that well, but that's what I needed to do now. Exactly what's going on, I don't know. A Necromancer. So maybe what I want to do is make the one that's facing us. So this one in the back here is facing towards us, and the one up front is facing away from us. Those lines don't really help there, but they make sense to me. So maybe what I want to do is make the Necromancer, the one in the back, and make here, let's just grab that and put it to the side for a second. We may or may not use that. So we want a Necromancer to be taller. And So the Necromancer maybe is dancing with just just a corpse. I don't know. That's not good. That's a little too weird. But it's a zombie or a skeleton. Hmm. I'm figuring things out as I go. It's a the thing about doing quick sketches like this is in order to keep things moving. You sometimes just have to draw on, despite the fact that I'm not really sure what's going on. Getting ballroom dancing. Not sure what I was thinking. Not sure I know enough to really pull off something that looks for sure convincingly like ballroom dancing. But I think we'll put the zombie in a dress. Necromancer can wear a cape just because it's fancy. All right. And then we can make it so that they're twirling around the floor like that. Here we go. I'm going to grab all that. I'm going to make it bigger. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this other couple in the back here just very surprised by what they're seeing. There we go. That's a good start. So we're going to have a Necromancer ballroom dancing. So go up to the lines layer and switch the color back over to black. I think I'm going to... we'll leave the pen at about that thickness for now, but let's start with a line I'm certain of. I want to sell Necromancer. We want to have the feeling of mystery. Like that. one thing I am trying to do as we do this show over the course of weeks is trying to get better at going very quickly from idea sketch to finished drawing. There are other cartoonists who have done events like this. Um, I don't know if I ever mentioned this when I started the show, but the idea for this show comes from a television show I used to watch in Japan that had cartoonists. It was a game show basically where cartoonists, three cartoonists a week would be there. And there would be a prompt, and they each would quickly draw their response to the prompt. Kind of a match game style question, it seemed to me. Although my Japanese was never good enough to really know for sure what they were saying, it seemed like it was the host would give a situation, a prompt that ended in a blank or a what happens next, and then the cartoonist would draw their solution to the what happens next. And no, it was I found it, even though I say my Japanese was not good enough that I really understood what was going on. I found it highly entertaining, and as I say, that was the basic uh, thought that led eventually to what I'm doing here. And of course, without a host and other things, I replaced that with the randomization, so I don't know what's coming up. But it's just me. It's probably would be more fun if I could figure out a way to get other cartoonists doing this with me at the same time. But that is a technical challenge that I have not yet solved. But as I say, one of the things they did on that show was they sped up the film while the cartoonists were working, so that there wasn't so much dead air, and they could do 3 or 4 different drawings in a half-hour show. Um, I've seen some cartoonists here in America do similar live shows at conventions. There's several that were done by Scott Shaw and Sergio Aragonés and Mark Evanier. They'd done them at San Diego Comic-Con. It's called Quick Draw. Very similar idea. And Sergio just draws, like, no sketching. He just starts drawing these amazingly good and amazingly funny cartoons. But he finishes 1 or 2 while Scott can keep up with him some, but usually their third person is a guest who's never done this before and just has a hard time keeping up. It's hard to do this kind of thing. First of all, it's hard to come up with the ideas quickly. I'll tell you that. I enjoy it. I think it's a challenge for me, It's a mental challenge as much as a drawing challenge to come up with the uh, concept for something that meets these ideas that I'm not prepared for, or at least not fully prepared for. And there are some very good cartoonists I've watched on these that struggle with that. And even when they do come up with ideas, trying to get a drawing done in just a few minutes that feels anything, uh, you know, anything like completed is a super big challenge. And let's say I'm trying to improve my skill at that. At some point, when I start going back to more conventions, I'd like to do. I'd like to get a random encounters live show and do that. And again, maybe then bring in some other cartoonists to do it with me. But there are a lot of other challenges that have to go through there. Like I definitely need to bring in someone to be the uh, the MC or the host, the role that Mark Evanier plays in Sergio and Scott's version of it. Here I'm gonna putting in the secondary couple. Thought I was gonna make the brush smaller for this, but it's working out okay. Thought I was gonna need to, in fact, make the brush smaller in order to draw them, but just being careful with how hard I press. All right, there. Turn off the sketch layer and look at just what we have here in drawings. I think we've got a Necromancer ballroom dancing. Dave says Sergio can sketch so fast he can animate in real time. Practically true. The man is hilarious and brilliant and so talented. So talented. All right, so let's call that good for drawing. Come in and put some colors on that. Let's start with our Necromancer. Give the Necromancer an unhealthy skin tone. Very pale and unusual, just because he spends so much time with the dead. And we'll give him a very dark, very dark red cloak. So you've got those skulls on his as his cloak clips. Cloak clips. the shapes there. Maybe we'll go for a dark green top. Thinking about maybe blue, but I think green feels more necromancery. Necromantic, maybe I should say. Black boots. Looking good. And then we're going to come to a different green, a very different kind of pale green for our zombie. What color dress should she be wearing? Any thoughts out there on what color dress the fancy ball zombies wear these days? Hmm. No thoughts? I'll give you a minute or two to think on that. I know there's also some lag between when I ask and when I see what you've written. So I'll take a second here and color in our shocked couple. Scandalized. I say, sent a necromancer. Dancing with a zombie. Horrifying. Horrifying. It's what happens when we come to the ball in the off season, you know. Shrouds are either white, kind of yellowed with age. Oh, Lily Munster style. Let's see. Let's see. Let's start by using some gray. If this is white, we could get away with just putting some highlighting colors on it, like that. And then I go back and add a little bit of yellowing also. Maybe something close to what we did with her eye. A little darker. Or a little, not darker, but dirtier. There we go. And come and put some shadowing on this, and they're coming together pretty well and quickly this week. That's always fun. There are weeks when I struggle, not sure what I'm doing. Weeks when everything just comes together quickly. So again, we're taking the colors we've already used and picking darker versions of them to create a little bit of shadow effects. I'm thinking about giving him yellowish eyes too, but I think that's just a little too inhuman. All right, and again, I'm going to go back to those colors and lower the opacity just a little. Certainly not any more than 10%. Maybe 5% will be enough. 10%, 5%, 10%, 5%. It's not a lot of difference. I think I'm going to split it right down the middle. There we go. Just to pull them back a little. Sometimes those colors start to overpower the lines because it's just because of the way I work and working so quickly. Picking the color I want and not really thinking about the intensity until it's too late. But there we go. We've got a Necromancer, a ballroom dancing. So once again, come in, go back to the lines layer, and put my little stand on it, and we have a Necromancer ballroom dancing for our second drawing of the night. Woohoo! Flying right along. Oh, I'm gonna stretch. Let's say it's been a surprisingly busy day, but I think I still have one more drawing in me. If you don't mind, you don't mind if I do another drawing, do you? I didn't think you would. I'm just gonna go back here and grab the pad and get everything prepped for round 3. All right, here we go with round 3. Come back and we will go to our die roller. See if we can't roll something higher than a 3. We've had 2 1s, a 2, and a 3 so far. Let's see what the dice can maybe do a little better. Once, twice, third time. 6. It's like it was listening. And once, twice, third time. 4. Okay, well, you know what they say about random? It's awfully random. So, yeah. 6, of course, we know is adventurers. And 4 is sledding. Wow. I'm just remembering in the summertime we had adventurers driving an RV, and just, of course, we would have adventurers sledding to follow up on that. Okay, adventurers sledding. Hello, Claudio. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. It's gotta be late out where you are. I'm thankful you took the time. Or is it morning? Is it morning? It's morning. It's got to be no. I'm wrong. It's I don't know. I don't even remember. Yeah, it's going to be late morning where you are. Anyway, I'm glad you could make it. We are about to draw our third picture of the night. Morning for you, and it's going to be adventurers sledding. So I'm going to turn off the table, and we're going to come here to the sketch layer and turn on the blue pen. How I like to do that when we're doing our under drawings. So we're going to have sledding. Now I could put them all on one sled, or I could put them in multiple sleds. What do you guys think? We'll start by just So I'm throwing more of a toboggan in the sled, or a carpet. I don't know. Do we want to put it on runners or just? If, I mean, Calvin and Hobbes style sled, we'd want to square it off and give it a bar front and runners like that, or we could just make it. Most people these days when they go sledding, they're actually just taking a piece of cardboard or a big sheet of plastic and sledding and using those to sled. All right, and there'll be snow coming off the back as they go down. Um, you're gonna put them all on one. Like that. And if I grab this and I move it up here, I can, let's see, make them a little smaller at first and move them up here, and we can have them coming down a hill. About to go off a cliff. Hello, Dawn. Thank you for joining us today. Maybe trees over here. I have a no sledding sign here. Now they tell me. All right. Got very, very loose sketches there. All right. I like it. I like it. And we're going to quickly jump up to the lines layer. And wow. I talk about putting in lines that you feel comfortable with. If I was to do this as a finished piece, I would spend a lot more time working out how these bodies are going together, and I would be able to easily pick what um, what parts are important, important as in go in front, and are the pieces that that the drawing builds around. I'm having to guess a lot of that here because we got three characters right on top of each other. But, you know, there's a lot of it that I can make a good guess at. So far, I've made very good guesses. I wasn't sure exactly which line would need to go above what here with our fighter who's in control, or who's in front anyway. I'm not sure he's terribly in control. All right, now it gets a little weirder as I try and figure out what's going on here. But I think I've got it. I think I've got it. Sorry, this is confusing enough that I'm having difficulty talking while I do it. I'm thinking through every step of like, okay, what do I have to draw next? Where does this go? Sorry about that. This will teach me. And these are some of the things I learned while doing this show for future consideration. Is okay. Well, the more complicated I make it, the less I'm able to talk, and that makes the show less interesting. Might make the drawings a little more interesting, but there we go. I mean, you know what? For a second, I'm going to turn the sketch off to see how this is looking. I think that, particularly once I add a little color on that, that reads pretty clearly. Guess that you would be good people to ask. Is it clear to you what's going on in this picture just from the lines? Oops, Ramirez. For those who don't know, Ramirez is a creature that lives in and under the ice, and will just has a heated spine. Will just pop up through the ice to attack adventurers. There we go. This may be one of the more complex drawings that I've done on here ever. Now here, because I want the edge to be snow covered, normally I would get to the edge of a cliff. Let me just come up here, and I would put rough, clods of grass like that, so it would look like the edge of a cliff. But in this case, got to remember that the idea that is it's covered in snow. Go. Yeah, again, sorry for being less talkative during this one. As I say, live and learn. Live and learn. I can put a couple of little round things like that to indicate the powdery snow. I guess in the end, when we add a little bit of color to this, it will become clearer that this is snow. All right. And then just going to put some trees in the background. Yeah, this really is the most complete drawing I've done. Got not only multiple characters and a setting, a foreground setting, but I'm drawing a background too. What am I, crazy? We want to get some speed lines also coming off them. All right. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to turn that sketch off in a second here and just double check that we're not missing anything. Okay. And I think that by making that rounded shape, it already has a snowy feeling to it. It'll have a little more when I'm done. Okay, so let's quickly. We got a lot of. I usually, actually, ahead of what my usual time is. Our shows generally run about an hour and a half, and at this, I, I'm about 10 minutes earlier than where I normally am. Not that it matters really. We're all doing this for fun, or I'm doing it for fun. You guys don't have to stick around. If I ever get boring, you can go, and I'll never know. But I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we're having enough fun that you want to stick around. All right, so I'm going to come in here and again use the rough shapes of the faces to do that partial coloring that I've talked about a lot. Our let's see, where do I start? Where do I start? I think I'm going to start with the fighter who's in armor and go from there. I'm going to pick some bluish gray colors for. Oh, my! Somehow I've gone back to the. No, we want to be on drawing. We want to be on gloaming. Come on. Here we go. And when I do armor like this, I think I've talked about this before. I like to, for quick coloring, on an armored uh, night like this, I like to pick three similar or no, similar is the word I want, but three closely related grays, and I often like to make them blue grays, and use those to um, basically I decide in my head how hard a, a particular piece of the armor is. So really, what I'm doing is things that are of equal toughness or hardness get the same color. It doesn't really matter exactly how that works. It's the idea of when you're doing these things like picking colors, you can use weird or not realistic reasons to uh, tie colors together. And when you create that kind of symmetry, it creates a sense of a logic in the picture that although people don't really understand it, they couldn't tell you what it is. It conveys uh, it conveys um, a feeling that they find pleasant. Maybe is what I'm trying to say. Also, would help if maybe I came into this whole thing with a plan of what I wanted to teach. But this isn't a teaching exercise. This is a fun exercise. Okay. Go. Maybe. There also, and you see this in a lot of animated shows and um, comics for kids, where a character, the character's entire color scheme will be based off one color, and then each one will have a different one, which makes them easy to identify later on in any scene, no matter how big or small they are. Later, once you're used to seeing them, once you get comfortable and familiar with the characters, you will then be able to look at them and recognize them just by the color. And I guess this doesn't necessarily, unless you're planning to do drawing uh, for an audience, that doesn't really matter to you. But you may recognize that as you go through and now as you're watching things, realize that they got multiple characters. They make them clearly. One will be clearly different colors. One will be red. One will be blue. One will be green. Think of Donald Duck's nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. They've each got a specific color that they are, and even if they change clothes out of their usual clothing, they put them in diving outfits, or they put them in ski outfits, or they put them in jungle explorer outfits. They will have those colors so that you can recognize them. And when you're doing drawings, when you're creating things, you can do the same thing too. It doesn't have to be as obvious as those are, but suppose it's only obvious once you notice it. A lot of people spend a long time looking at those things and not realizing, oh yeah, every time we see them, they're that color. Or even if they do realize it, they don't realize why it's important, um, or they don't notice that they're uh, they're using that information. That's the information they're using to identify them. It just happens. And then once you do realize it, you can never unrealize, never stop seeing it. And you think, how did I not see that before? Okay, go kind of quick down here on the under parts. They're not really important. They do help, though. Every little bit helps to set the scene. All right, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use a. I talked about this before. When you've got multiple things that are basically white, the colors that you choose to use for the highlighting really changes how the brain sees it. So, by having that color there for the thrown up snow, the snow that's in the air, if I just pull it down so it's darker, and I use that here, you get the feeling that the snow on the ground is more solid than the snow that's in the air. And they look like different colors. And I don't want to force you to agree with me, but just look at that. Right now, the your brain is probably telling you that the white of the snow is a different white than the white of the cloud flying behind them. But you know that it's just white except for those couple of little areas that I've added the blue. But it creates for your mind the illusion that the entire thing is a different shade, different color. Go, and I think I want to just come in here and come to a very pale brown, and that's where we'll put that mountain in the background that I drew in before. We could do that with a blue, maybe, since we often see mountains look blue in the distance. I'm going to put it in like that. All right. And we have here adventurers sledding. I'll go and I'll grab one more time, go back to the inking brush and put my little stand on it. I think I'm really happy with how this drawing came out. I think that of all the things we've done over this is the 38th episode. 38 episodes of Random Encounters. This may be the best overall drawing that we've produced together. Good job, you. Good job, me. So there we go. We've got adventurers sledding. So I'm going to take a second here to wet my whistle come back and look at what's going on here in the chat here. Let's see. Scroll up a bit, and Claudio had said the expressions are spot on. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, they look pretty scared. Um, Linnea says, when I was little, my dad and I decided to take one last slide down it. Oh, this sounds like a story that's going to be interesting. One last slide on a snowy day. Since we were headed home, we decided it would be fun to go between two trees. Oh dear. Little did we know, someone had built a snow ramp in that exact spot. I didn't mean to bring up childhood trauma, Linnea. I just remember the moment when suddenly my dad was passing overhead and the sled and I continued. Wow, I should draw that. I was fine. He cracked 3 ribs. Oh, wow. Ouch. And yes, Claudio agrees. Ouch. Um, love where this is going, Stan. I have to. Well, Claudio, I know you're gone now, but in case you come back to watch, thank you for joining me. I appreciate having had you here. Always good to see you, my friend. All right, so let's review what we've had today. We had adventurers sledding, and with a I think we could probably get a second drawing of what happens next. What happens next? We had adventures sledding. Before that, we had a Necromancer ballroom dancing. And before that, we started off with an Owlbear playing chess. So there we go. Another exciting, successful, let's call it a successful week of random encounters. I had a lot of fun. I want to thank everyone that showed up live and came into the chat. That's Linnea and Dave, and I'm guessing Gus also, and Claudio, and Dawn was here for a while. I want to thank you all. Thank you all for being here always. Thank everyone who was here in the live stream and decided that they didn't have anything to say. That's all right. I want to make sure you feel welcome too and appreciated. I appreciate that you were here. And everyone that's going to watch this on the replay, thank you. I hope someday you can join in on a live stream and come in and throw your ideas into the mix. Maybe you can get inspire something that winds up being the next Owlbear playing chess. Who knows? I will, well, before I say that, remember, please, that I am doing the caricature resolution every day in the month of January. There's a list that's been published by the International Society of Caricature Artists, of a different person, a celebrity, or some form of celebrity each day, and I'm doing those. And in fact, some of them I'm streaming live. If you subscribe to this channel, click like, ring the bell, hit subscribe, please. Then it will tell you when I'm going to go live again. I've been going live in the middle of the day, working on some of the caricatures. I'm doing the caricatures every day. I'm not streaming every day. I just don't have the I can't make myself pretty every day for you. But you can see the replays on some of those here on the channel. It's a lot of fun. I talk about I go through the whole thing. I pick I say who the person is. We go and we get some reference photos using web search, and then I describe my thoughts and my process as I do the caricatures. I find it fun, and people tell me that it is informative. So yeah, have a look for those too. You can find me here. Whatever you're looking, whatever channel you're watching this on. YouTube is maybe the one that is best for me. It's all about me, right? So yeah, if I had a choice, I'd bring you over to YouTube. But you can watch me. I'm on the other ones are okay. That's why I stream there. Facebook, uh, former Twitter, Twitch. You're all good by me. I love all those platforms, and I'm happy to be there. So you can find me, as I said earlier, on Instagram. If you want to see those drawings I was talking about, the caricatures, you want to see, I will post the drawings from tonight up on my Instagram. Anything I do that's available publicly will wind up on the Instagram. So that's a great place to go and see my art. And if you really like this and you want to get more involved, you maybe want to get some behind the scenes views, or if you join the community at a certain level, you want to get things like stickers sent to you in the mail a couple of times a year, maybe you want to think about joining my Patreon, patreon.com/Stanex. You're certainly welcome. I never put a hard press on this. I just want people to know that it's available, though. It would be great to grow that community. The bigger that community gets, the more actually I can give back through it. So um, it's just one of those money realities, right? The more uh, the more money that it generates, again, not to get too hung up on the dollar bills, but the more money it generates, the more time I can afford to spend doing things for the company, for the patrons on Patreon. Stickers, says Dave. Yeah, stickers. Everyone loves the stickers. Uh, most of the people that joined there got my 2024 Year of the Dragon sticker sent to them, along with a holiday card. Those are the kind of things you get. Membership has its privileges, as an old TV commercial once said. Anyway, think about it. That's all I'm asking, is think about it. In the meanwhile, I will be back next Thursday with another hour to hour and a half of improv cartooning here on Random Encounters. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Till then, bye everyone.